Rubylux are on the programme now. They are a half Welsh, half Brighton-based band. They've got a great record out. It's called The Boy Could Fly. Here it is, and after that you can hear me chatting to a brand new band. They're really nice guys, and they make great music. Rubylux.
Who'd have thought the boy could fly?
You are listening to the evening show here on BBC Radio Wales with me, Alan Thompson. That is the brand new single from a new band to us here on the evening show. They are called Rubylux. That track was called The Boy Could Fly. It's available now. And talking to me on the programme tonight, we got the singer Rob and the drummer Mike. Hello, boys.
Hello.
Hey, nice to see you. Thanks very much for coming in to talk to me on the evening show. Who shall I start with, Rob or Mike?
Ooh.
They're both looking at each other.
Lucky dip.
I'll start with Rob because
Ooh.
he sang it. Tell me about the tune that we just heard there, mate.
The Boy Could Fly, we wrote in France. It's about kind of icons that have come through from a working class background and worked their way up through sort of society.
Yeah.
And people like kind of John Lennon.
That's interesting. Whose idea was that? That's a good idea.
Yeah,
Wish I'd thought of that, actually.
Just say you did.
If this doesn't fly, I'll nick that idea and do it myself. So whose idea was that?
It just something that I was inspired by, I think. Yeah.
Yeah?
I wrote.
Lennon's a hero of yours, is he?
He is, yeah, definitely.
Rob goes on about, well, he doesn't go on about it. There's a story that he's a distant relation of yours, isn't that
Hang
right,
on,
Rob?
there's a story that you're related to John Lennon.
My great grandma was a Lennon.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
there's a distant relation. It's something like a second, third cousin or something.
Your great-great-grandmother was a Lennon from that Lennon area of Liverpool.
Yeah,
Apparently so.
who came from the same Lennon clan from Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were
So you are-
Went off with a milkman.
Yeah.
So you're related to royalty, to rock royalty.
Something like that.
Sort of. Give us a bit of history then. Rubylux is the name of the band. Mike, the drummer, tell me about that's an unusual name.
Yeah, the name...
How did that happen?
Well, we've been together 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Obviously, we were struggling around for a name as we started, but
Finding band names is a nightmare.
yeah, we went through some awful ones. But the way it came about was Ad, the keyboard player,
Yeah.
he used to live next door to a psychic lady. And she said to him, I think unprompted one day, you should use the word Ruby in your band.
Yeah.
So, and this was before we were together, right? And then, so he finally brings this up and he says, you should. Oh, someone said Ruby once, so we were like, Ruby's a bit naff. So we put Rubylux. We put Lux is light in Latin.
Yeah.
So we stuck lat on the end, and then we're like, yep, we'll go with that.
That's the
We've
one.
got a gig next week. We need a name, so we went with it.
And the band is a 4-piece band?
Yeah, that's right.
So how did you guys all get together? There's a Welsh connection. There's a couple of Welsh guys in the group.
Well, me and I'm from North Wales, from Bangor, and
Yeah.
Clark's from Llanelli.
Right.
And we kind of moved. The two of us moved down to Brighton about 5 years ago. Rob and Ad went to school together, and then we just sort of met through the Brighton music scene, really, playing in various different bands over the years, and then we sort of thought this was the dream team.
This is the one.
Yeah.
Why did you go to Brighton in particular? Is there a music scene in Brighton?
Yeah, really big. Well, it was. I feel it was bigger then than it is now, but it's such like a close connection to London. There's just so. I originally was going to go to London, then I thought, I don't know. There's like a music college down there that I went to, and I don't know. It just seemed like a really nice place to go. A bit cheaper than London.
Yeah.
Just as good music.
Do you know what? I've never been to Brighton. As an old middle-aged mod, I should have gone to Brighton years ago. People always tell me it's a fantastic place.
Yeah,
I've never
yeah.
been to Brighton. I've always meant to go there.
Yeah.
It all sounds like a sort of bustling...
It really is,
place.
yeah. Like when I moved there, anyway, there was gigs on every single night. Literally, you couldn't get away from it. It's a little bit less now, but then there's still things like the Great Escape, which is like a festival they put on every year for like unsigned some newly signed and unsigned bands. So
Yeah.
there's loads going on there.
They made the film Quadrophenia in Brighton,
yeah,
didn't they?
Did you?
Isn't there a tour that they do where you can go around and see various film locations
Yeah.
from the
Is there a
Quadrophenia
tour?
movie?
I mean, you can just go and see them anyway. Like
You can walk down the alley that they run down, and
Do you know where that little lane is? Where that's
There-
one?
there's someone. It's a funny story. Someone lives there, and they keep painting over the gate that's
The
in
graffiti.
the film, but it's just graffitied. Every day, I think someone goes and does it again.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah.
If I ever come to Brighton, will you show me that
We'll
alley?
give you the
give me the
Quadrophenia
tour.
Yeah. Very reasonable price.
So tell me about the influences on the band there. We heard the single a moment ago. You mentioned John Lennon. What kind of sort of influences do you draw from, Rob?
well, when we were writing the album, we were listening to bands like Muse, The Killers.
Kings of Leon.
Kings of Leon.
Keane.
Yeah, just they're the kind of things that we like. So it kind of
We spent 6 months recording the album in France with a producer called James Sanger.
And he's worked with some amazing people.
Yeah, he's worked with some big names. So that
Like
was
who?
kind of he's worked with
Keane,
Keane,
U2.
Madonna.
Gee.
Dido,
Yeah.
Phil
Some real big
Collins.
names. So like it was to get a chance to go over there. We lived with him for 6 months and we made the record in his studio / house, and it was just great. We were really out of it all. There was nothing around. We just concentrated
on the record.
100%.
Is he a good name dropper? Does he give you plenty of stories?
Does he? Oh,
Yeah.
The best one I heard was his daughter dropped his watch one day and he goes, "Oh no, darling, don't drop that. Phil Collins gave me that." So we were careful around the house.
You were careful on that. And obviously working with somebody who's worked with the likes of Madonna and Keane and U2, there's no messing about there, is there? You've got to know what you're doing. You've got to be, on top of your game, so to speak, which I guess is a good thing, that kind of discipline, surely.
There was a lot of discipline going on. We were very productive while we were there.
Yeah.
But he was great to work with. Every morning we'd be up as early as possible. He'd come and wake us up. Come on, we're going to the studio.
Yeah. And how did you get him? Because obviously I would imagine a lot of people would want to work with a guy like that.
Yeah, I think he was presented with some of our sort of early material that we recorded in Wales. Actually, we recorded up in North Wales. There's a studio there we spent a lot of time in.
Yeah.
And I think somehow the music fell into his hands, and then he checked us out on YouTube and seen a couple of our videos, and we kind of tried to keep our website updated as much as possible. So I think that helped us as well.
Yeah.
And he saw that. He invited us over for a brie sandwich, and
nice.
and then we sort of we all got on, so we went back over there. And
in France this was,
this
right?
was in France, yeah.
So obviously a beautiful part of the country, I guess you were working in. Does that affect the fact that your working day and your recording? Is it nicer to record in a really nice place than an horrible grotty studio?
I think it was really good for us because we were disconnected from everything.
Yeah.
There was one bar just around the corner, and that was as far.
We kept it in business, but
There was nothing else to do but make music and lock ourselves away with vintage synths.
And was he very hands-on with the songs? Would he say to you, look, this is good, but I don't like that bit, change this and so on?
The first month was just spent us performing the songs to him, pretty much the songs we already had.
Yeah.
And him just breaking them down, and then we built them back up again,
Firing opinions at each other.
Yeah, got heated at moments. But
Yeah, and are you all good at taking that?
yeah, we
You've
did
got to
very
be,
well.
really.
Give as much as we get.
Yeah, of course you do. And how does the songwriting work in Rubylux? Does one guy write it and then the rest of you chip in, or do you all write together? Mike is pointing at Rob, the singer.
Yeah,
You the main songwriter, Rob?
The main songwriter, but we do write together as well.
Yeah, again, going back to being in France, that was kind of a great opportunity for us to sort of write together. So a couple of the songs in the album we all sort of wrote together, and then a couple of the other ones are ones that Rob had written.
Yeah.
Some of the earlier songs that we've been playing for years.
Yeah. How do you generally write, Rob? Just with a guitar, or do you sing it? Do you go for a walk and sing a melody, or how does it work for you?
It can start from all different kinds of inspiration, but normally I start with a couple of chords and then get inspired by that, and I play a bit of keys as well, so either write on the piano or guitar.
Okay.
We'll be sat in the van one day and Rob will have his iPhone out humming a little tune, and we're like, what the hell's he doing?
Yeah.
And then a couple of weeks later we've got a song.
It turns up as a song.
Yeah.
So there's loads. What's the name of the album?
It's called Fake Control.
Fake Control. And did you have